NPR's Top Pros Talk, Understanding Your Customers, featuring Heather Caouette, Marketing and Communications Director at Xealth. And here's your host, Doug Simon.
We're going to be talking about the future of healthcare technology, but I thought, Heather, it makes sense to start out with a quick explanation about Xealth.
So right now, digital health, people are familiar with telehealth visits, especially since the pandemic, and mobile apps. But digital health is actually a lot more, including patient education, videos, sometimes transportation or meal delivery services if a patient is on a specific diet. And so what Xealth does, it works with hospitals to bring all of those digital assets into one place where clinicians can easily order it, monitor to make sure the patient received it and is using it, and then analyze the results of those programs. And from the patient side, it's bringing it to their smartphone, to their email, whatever medium they're using, to have those resources there. They can refer back, shared as desired, just trying to bring healthcare to where the patient is.
What are some of the things that you're doing to try and maybe help your client communicate the availability of those services with their customer base?
So a couple of things that we do is we put together some customer forums so that and also use cases so that our customers know what other customers are doing. And it's not just Xealth that's putting those together. We bring the customers together so that they're hearing it straight from another hospital system, what programs have worked, what challenges they came across, how they're reaching out to their patients and providers. Because if the provider doesn't know that these resources are available, they're not going to be able to share it with their patients. So they get to hear and ask questions from their peers.
What can organizations do to bring out their customers' voices?
So what Xealth tries to do is we work with hospitals and a lot of medical providers, but this can apply across especially B2B organizations. Within your current organization, working with internal teams like customer success, sales, and making sure that you know from a marketing perspective what everyone's doing with your technology, with your solutions. So digital programs, in Xealth's perspective, digital programs go across clinical lines. There's a lot of different ways they can be used. So it's very important to work closely with our customers, not just to make sure that they're successful, but then also part of that is knowing what the programs are, what the goals of those programs are, and what resources are being put towards making that a reality, whether it's patient enrollment, engagement, experience, clinical outcomes. And not only that, but making sure that the customer knows what the organization is doing. We don't want to miss an opportunity where they're looking for some type of solution and go elsewhere because they just don't know that your company provides it.
What are some of the things you see in the future of healthcare technology?
There's going to be a lot of change coming up with medical providers and in healthcare across the board, looking at what does work, what doesn't, and fine-tuning that so to better fit their organizations longer term. But I also see us in the very early days of healthcare technology. We're going to see advancements in interoperability, which has been a topic for a long time at a lot more meaningful pace. Artificial intelligence is breaking a lot of ground. So are digital therapeutics. And so I think that there's a lot of exciting milestones still ahead of us that are going to improve healthcare in ways that we can't even imagine yet.
What are some of the ways that communicators might have to adapt to telling those stories?
Thinking on their feet and being quick to adapt, not just to the changing media landscape, being open to learning new areas for healthcare, just different clinical areas, maybe different technologies that are coming up, but just being eager to learn, quick to adapt, and just focused on where their audiences are. Are their audiences on LinkedIn? Are they on a different medium? Is there a new publication? Or looking at email open rates, just different platforms, and making sure that their messages are resonating and reaching the audiences that they're intended for.
What are some of the ways that you're working to create brand awareness?
So at Xealth, we're really looking at creating brand awareness from the inside out. We are making sure that our employees are on the same page with the goals for the company, what the company's working on, and also what the customers' priorities are and what's being done across a lot of the hospital systems that we're working with. In addition, we bring our customers together so that they know and can learn from what other health systems are doing across the country, with different clinical areas. Maybe it's something that they can answer each other's questions, give them ideas for what they can do next. Digital health is just such a new area that we can all learn so much from each other. And just looking at different mediums and different ways to get those stories out for successes, great patient stories, any that the health systems are able to drive using digital health, and in particular our platform. To do that, obviously we want to highlight, but also the greater story is what enables the health system to provide for their patients.
And that's always so important, to tie it to a larger story, that even if your company wasn't in it, it would still be a good and important story. Thanks so much for sharing your insights, and hopefully it reaches the audience it's intended for.
Thank you very much.